And we begin.
Buzz.
Buzz, do you want
Round
to do the
two.
intro today?
The introduction, round two. Hoit. So we recorded the first episode a few nights ago, and
Yes.
it was so fire that we just knew it had to be a second part.
Yes.
So we're in my living room. No, it's not living room. It's like the
You're in your dining room.
dining
right now.
room, which is basically my living room and my kitchen. You don't need to know, but if you wanted us to paint a scene, that's what it is.
There's sweet potatoes,
Yeah, the sweet potatoes.
the dictionary of mythology,
That's true. Oh, true.
and Acacia is out on the balcony.
Yeah, and we're just hoping that he doesn't jump off.
Yeah, that he's not feeling suicidal. I hope I treat him right.
Wow, this is just the
It's
intro.
got dark quick. What will come?
What's gonna happen? In the last edition, where did we leave off?
We had just checked your dating profile.
That's right.
And then we went to Genesis's gig. I'm putting my phone on silent, not that anyone would call me this out.
True.
And we did lightly, possibly propose the idea that we could unpack the journey of Paisley and ALPHAMAMA.
We did. We had that idea.
Do you feel like doing that today?
You know what? I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm open to it.
All right. Where do we start? What do we want to achieve through this? What are we giving the audience? What is without I don't know the right word, but like to give them, this is going to be their needed this today.
I needed this today. Yeah.
Pre-planning, but what is it that we want to cover?
Well, I think a few things for me, like the gifts of our relationship, you know, like what were the gifts that we had for each other? I think that'd be a nice thing to talk about. And then also a lot of people have commended us or like commented on the way that we've been able to remain such good friends
Yes.
after, you know, being in a romantic relationship. And I think that's always valuable because so many people can't do that. You know, I have exes that I don't talk to.
Me too. Also, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I think the piece that I'd like to get out of it is chemistry. Where does the chemistry come from? Because that's my selling point on this.
It's making me laugh because I'm just thinking about very, very early on where I was like,
Oh yeah, the chemistry wasn't there immediately. And that's a good place to start. Is you're like, why are you pursuing me? Why do you want to do this? And my main objective was to be closer to you and to create more vulnerability between us. And whether we end up in a relationship or not, or we break up, is that we have a deeper closeness.
That's true. That's what
Which
you did want.
my goal has been achieved.
It did get achieved. It was there were a lot of painful moments.
Oh, yeah.
There was a big fucking initiation, I will say. And yeah, I had a lot of resistance in the start because, well, I mean, you just weren't the type of guy that I would normally date, if I'm honest. And also there were so many overlaps, you know. We were friends for ages. I really, like, you were like my best friend, you know, the person that I just didn't want to ruin things with. And then also you were my manager at the time too. And
Yes.
the running the label that I was, you know, releasing through. There was so many overlaps.
Yeah. I had dated one of our other roommates.
There was a lot going on, and I was like, too hard basket. Why are we even talking about this? Just stop it. Just no. But obviously, you know, something that had to happen, had to unfold. Or, well, you know, you could say it like that, or you could just say we chose to do it. Yeah.
Both. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely fascinating because I feel like, in my opinion, was, and I think we both have different views on this, but you sort of seeked me first. You tested the waters with me first. You checked me out. You scoped me out, and then I ended up with someone else. So you were like, or you saw someone else was into me, so you backed off.
Oh, okay. You mean early
Way
on.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because when you moved in, or you didn't move in at first. You were like just like came for like a visit.
I was
kind of
having
thing.
an extended stay.
You had an extended stay. That's right. And at that time, I was in an open relationship with someone. That was when I was with Zulu. Fuck it, we'll just say the things.
Say names.
I was with Zulu at the time. We were in an open situation, and you know, new boy energy in the house.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like, what's this? What's it going to be? And I'd had that dream about you that I told you. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I had a dream.
To tell the dream. So
I can't
innocent,
remember the dream.
innocent me. So that you asked me, "Hey Paisley, how are you feeling about a snuggle tonight?" I was pretty new to the house. I had just done level 2 of Spiral, so I was very like.
That's right.
Very open sexuality, open community, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, all right. And then we cuddled throughout the night. Okay, she's at the window. And then in the morning, you're like, oh, I had a dream about you last night. And we did, like, the cuddle was very platonic. And then you're like, yeah, I dreamt that we were in the back seat of the car. And you're like, let's have sex. And you're like, no, I can't. But I'll suck your dick. Seed planted.
Look, fuck, that was my subconscious. I didn't plan that dream. That just happened. It's not
Oh
like
no, I
made it
don't
up.
like. I'm gonna have to bring a case in. He's hanging over the balcony right
Yeah,
now. You
see?
continue telling the story.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's go save the doggo. Yeah, I mean, I did not plan to have that dream. It just kind of happened. I had the dream, and then I guess it was a bit of a seed planting. Hi, Acacia. Yeah, chill out. But then it was like, all right, cool. You know, I was like trying to be in an open relationship, but I didn't really want to be in an open relationship. Like I was, you know, I wanted to be a monogamous with the person I was with at the time. But I was like, well, you know, since it's allowed, like, you know, might as well just explore what was there. And then because Paisley was new energy in the house, everyone was about Paisley.
Ah, yeah.
It was like Jason, who was living with us at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe this was even before Jason, but there was Ali.
No, Ali didn't live there anymore.
That's right, Ali had moved out.
And Ali was the one that I was in love with.
That's right. Okay, so we should tell this story because basically our crew is just like overlaps of there's like triangles and not just triangles, all sorts of shapes.
Yeah. The Venn diagram
is real.
is really intense.
So when Paisley first arrived at the God Queen headquarters, that's what our house was called. He met Alia.
Yes.
Who is Alice Knight, if you
Alice
want to go
Knight.
find her music online. And
Yes.
he was like, oh my God.
I was in a monogamous relationship of a few years, never looked at another woman. She walked to the door before she even said a word, and I was like, I just emotionally cheated on my girlfriend.
I remember
It's game
you
over.
saying that.
It's game over.
You were like, fuck.
Fuck. And she was
Yeah.
like, who is this strange man in the house? It wasn't even like she was giving me vibes. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, she was more not giving me vibes than giving me vibes.
And you were so into her. You were like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, who is she?
Who is she?
Yeah.
So that was the first little thread. And then you left for a bit.
I left for... That was like... I wasn't back until like 6 to 8 months later.
Yeah. And then you came back. And when you came back, you actually stayed for a time.
Yeah,
And
so
when you...
for months.
Yeah, and when you stayed, that time is when things kind of started moving because Jason, who was one of our housemates who was gay, was like, you know, sussing you out, wanting snuggles with you, wanting cuddles with you, holding hands and whatnot, wanting more, but you not wanting more at the
Not
time.
anymore.
And then there was me, and then there was G.
Georgia, yes. And there's a few others that were like a part of the community that were in and out of the house
Our
as well.
extended community.
Extended
yes.
community was also getting bags on the new boy.
And it was, you know, it was also because you were going through the spiral.
I was going through the spiral,
So
having
it's
this
like-
unraveling.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, whoa, your sexuality is blooming. I remember like everyone was like Lindsay, I think at one point, and then there was, name?
Fehu?
Fehu, yeah, changed her name. Fehu.
What was Fehu's original name?
That's what
Jasmine?
I can't remember. Yeah, Yasmin. That's right.
Yasmin.
Yeah. So there was like all of this like goings on, and me, I'm the kind of person where it's like if everyone's been with you, I'm like ew, like no, my stupid shit. But then time had passed, like because we'd already like built a friendship. We'd become so close. And then, you went through the spiral, you quit your job, which is a whole other story. You quit your job, you started your business, your like social media business, you started running workshops, like did all this stuff. Then you did spiral prac training as well, became a spiral practitioner. And then like eventually, this is like ages later, we were on tour with Nadine.
Yes. And
you obviously being Nadine's manager, and I was like, well, in her band, but also, kind of taking on a sort of semi-mum role as well. It was like we were like mum and dad.
Yes.
And I think it was in Brisbane. Was it in Brisbane?
We're at Big Sound.
We're at Big Sound, that's right. And that's like we shared a bed at Big Sound, and like you could kind of feel like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd broken up with Zulu, I think, at that time already. Yes. So I was single. And then and that's right. And this is the first time we were actually intimate was I was sleeping with this other guy. Yes. Remember?
Yes.
Fucking soft Viking, gentle Viking is what we called him.
Yeah. Gentle Viking.
Gentle Viking. That's another story. And he had stayed the night, and then he left. And then you and I were going to spend the day together, but I was in bed being my like Taurus, like, and why don't I stay in bed, blah, blah, blah. And I think we were going to go to Darling Harbour or something.
Yeah, we're going to go to Darling Harbour. We're never going to go to the harbour. There's a place in the harbour that's like my spot. Right. I wanted to take you there.
And I was being all like, no, I just want to stay in bed. And then like you were like, all right, well, I'm going. And that crushed me. I was so upset with you.
You were so upset. It was the first time you never talked. The first time you didn't talk to me.
I was friendship. It's so funny looking back now. I'm like, why was I so upset with you? And then why also was it such a big deal? But it was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
It was a massive deal. I didn't speak to you for 3 days. I think it was.
You didn't speak to me for 3 days.
Fuck.
I mean, but you would email me in the house about business stuff.
Oh, I'm so petty.
Because you were this was the start of Oil and Water, like singles and whatnot were getting ready.
Yeah, and I had to like upload tracks and different things like that.
Yeah,
but because in the old house, I never closed my door. My door was always open. Even if I was having sex with someone, my door was open. But this time,
you shut the door. That's when I knew it was serious.
I shut the door. And then so that went on, for some days.
Yeah.
I remember being so mad at you because I felt super abandoned when you just left. It was like massive abandonment wound. And then I'm trying to figure out how. I remember you came in one time. Whoa.
Oh. Came in. I think we had a hey, buddy. So everyone, there's going to be little distractions. Acacia's here. I thought it was a good idea to bring him, but he's in adventure mode. We met on mutual grounds, which was the workshop room. We had a talk in there, and you just weren't. You're still upset with me. You still weren't ready to talk to me. We had tried to sort it out, but you were pretty like, nah.
I was so. Wow, like I'm just thinking like it was such a big reaction to a nothing thing. It just grazed a core wound. It was like a core wound that was like so like red hot that you just couldn't go there. I was a wounded bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that.
Yeah, you're crying like Acacia. And then I think like the next day, so on the third day, I think I just came into your room and I was like, look, listen. I'm sorry, I'm sorry this happened. Can we please just sort this out? Blah, blah, blah. And then you're like having an unravel of vulnerability, all this stuff. And I was like, look, I don't know if I feel very inappropriate about this. But I'm turned on.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, good. Great. Shame turned on is great. Stop talking. And then I think like we made out and I don't even know if we made out, but we started touching and whatnot.
I think you hugged me first, I think. maybe it was like something like that. I can't even remember, but I do remember being very surprised at how my body responded to your touch. I was like, oh, I did not expect that. I was also in the height, like I was like, I'd just come off a weekend of sex with some other person. I was like very like in my, it was like all sorts of things going on. But I remember
you were ovulating. I remember that.
Yes, I was ovulating, and then it was just your touch, and I was like, oh shit. Bum. And yeah, I do have like a bit of a kink, like a shame kink.
Yeah.
So when I'm in those like feels, those shame feels, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. That's the pleasure zone. That's open me with sexual energy. That was my initiation into it. I was so ashamed that I felt turned on by your shame. I was like, something's wrong with me. And if she finds out, that she's going to be so upset at me. But when I told you, and you're like the total opposite.
I was like, hot.
Let's do it.
It's so hilarious. I think it's just because like, for me, like, you know, shame is a very powerful emotion for me personally. It's like so big and it's so like, can be so overwhelming that when I'm witnessed in it by someone, it's actually so arousing for me. It's like, wow, like you're seeing me in my deepest, darkest. And that's like a real kink, because I don't know, like everyone has their things, but for me, it's like if you see me in my densest shit, in like the place where I feel like the most vulnerable, then, and if you can see me there, then, and you can, like, if you can love me there, then like you can love all of me, you know? So that was that moment. And then the next few months were like this kind of awkward, like, what are we doing situation.
Yeah, we started kissing and hanging out, and holding hands.
Should we tell people I taught you how to kiss?
Taught me how to kiss how you like to kiss.
How I like to kiss.
Yes. But that was a bit later. But we were navigating how that was gonna work. We were discussing. Well, first you're still like, no, I don't know, rah, and we were going backwards and forwards on that. Buddy, you have to just chill out. 1 second, everybody. Down.
Oh, just so you know, everyone, this is Acacia's first time in my home.
Yeah, he's stressing out.
He's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why are we here? This is so boring.
He thought we're going on an adventure. When he comes in the car, it usually means adventure.
And now it's just dawning on him.
It's just a small apartment instead. He's never been in an apartment. Anyways, back to it. We're figuring it out. I remember, so for me, you were the most womanly person I had been with. So I was quite like sexually insecure. It took us a while for us to actually drop in good sex. Took a while.
It took us a while. We were quite incompatible initially. It was like, what is going on?
Yes, and I do remember when it changed, which we'll get to.
Another kink.
Another kink. But yeah, we're figuring it out, and it pretty much was like negotiating. We were negotiating how we're going to make it work around the work dynamic, the friendship dynamic, the relationship dynamic, and essentially it was a lot of me going, I want your vulnerability. I want you to open up more. Yeah. And you've been like, no why? No why? But that's all you ever want as well, is to be vulnerable.
I know.
But then when I'm like, be vulnerable, you're like, no why?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. That's the thing. It's like, for me, it's like my biggest desire, my strongest desire, deepest desire is like, deep intimacy, which comes from sharing vulnerabilities. And I love that, but it's also so terrifying. And I know that it's also like, once you see me there,
if that was your thing. Yeah,
like if you see me there, that's it. There's no going back.
Yeah.
For me, like if someone gets into that place for me, I can't get you out.
I remember you had the analogy, something around treasure. You see my treasure,
Yeah.
And then
that's
it
my
won't be treasure anymore or something like
Yeah, I
that.
had some analogy around it. Yeah, I do remember that now. Shit. Fuck, I was on something.
So we're going, it's all good. It's more me that's invested. Alpha's not that invested. You're like, yeah, whatever.
I didn't want to open. Like, we were having sexual experiences, but I wasn't fully letting myself, like, really open. I was like, this is it. This is enough.
And then we and then it came along to New Year's. So September was when it started kicking off. Then it got around closer to New Year's and we're going to go down to Falls Festival for a tour.
Yeah.
And then Alia, it was also going on tour.
Came back in the picture.
She rocks up from Byron, throws herself on the bed. She was upset about something. And you're like, somewhere along the way, it was like, give Alia a hug, like, and let her know she's been nurtured. And then from there, something sort of awakened a bit. There had been other moments previously when we were at Splendor earlier in the year, but I think you and I were also still at that moment, even sussing each other out. I think at Splendor. And that was the first time I was like, Alia, are you checking me out? She said yes. Anyways, and then she's like, hey, how do you feel about going a few days early and we'll take the coastal way and camp a few times? And I was like, all right, like, let me check in with Alpha if she's okay with that. Yeah. Like, we didn't have clear intentions of hooking up, but there was something possibly there. Yeah. I was more like, yeah, something could happen. I think she was a bit like, no, I don't think so. And you had a bit of gripe around that, but in the end, you're like, yeah, okay, go do it, you know?
Yeah. I wasn't fully happy about it, but I was like, all right, fine, go do it.
Yeah.
And then you went, and yeah, that's when things got super hectic, messy. So we're at Falls Fest, and you and me sharing a tent. Alia's got her own tent, but then just not. But something happened with you and her on the way.
Yeah, something. So we were unraveling. We hadn't done anything yet. Hey, buddy, no. But I was gonna stay with her, and you come down, and you were just already in your head. Us two were together.
Yeah.
And we and her were in Melbourne because she had a concert, and you're like, I'm going to see Zulu.
That's right.
And I was cut.
Yeah, you were so cut.
I was like, no, this guy that treats you like fucking dirt.
Oh, damn.
Go with whoever, just not him.
Yeah,
it's not about you getting with someone else. It's about I can't respect him, and then I can't respect you when you get back from him.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But you did it.
I did it, and I remember I asked if he could come to Falls Fest.
You asked if he could come. You're like, oh, how would you feel if he could come? And I was like, no. I didn't even want you to go be with him, let alone.
I remember that.
So then, that was the first night Ali and I kissed and canoodled.
That's right, yeah.
And then you were off with Zulu doing the same.
Fucking hell.
I think he's possibly... No, I don't need to get into detail about what he did. But anyways, but then the next day he came to breakfast with us.
That's
and
right.
I had to fucking grit my teeth. But I was like, I was just so okay with like, I don't like you, you know? They'd been established for a long time. I had not liked him anyways.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got rid of him and went down to Falls. That was on the way down is when you taught me how to kiss like you like.
Yes.
I think after probably kissing with someone that you really like kissing.
I was like, all right, let me fix some shit real
Let's
quick.
fix some shit. And then that night was like...
Yeah.
When we had hot sex.
It was like the first time we had proper, like... I feel like I gave myself over finally. Yeah, and I think it was like a combination of just like having and like I can get very like, you know, like the possessiveness comes out, and then it's like then I'm invested now. Yeah, and I guess obviously I had a bit of reclaiming to do after, and there was obviously that insecurity of like Zulu has spent his whole life practicing tantra and has for a very bad lack of term body count of like 1 million.
He brushes his teeth with sex every day, you know.
Jesus.
We're really name dropping out here, but anyways.
We're really doing it. Shit.
So yeah, I obviously had to like a bit of my like masculinity, my mark my territory, something to prove came up a bit there, and then so did you around Ali.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I had some shit.
Even though we were open.
It definitely like stoked the flames for sure. It just it just put the car into gear. Mm-hmm. And then, so just to fuck it up a little bit more, then we put Ali in the mix as well. Yeah. We had a few threesomes, and I was
initiated into my first threesome, which I was very nervous about on multiple levels. Not just that you like performing, but just like, what is this gonna mean?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, no.
All the meaning stuff.
Yeah. So that's then.
Wow, I'm just thinking back to those times. Fuck, we were like so wild. Like, it's fine, but it's like, I'm just thinking like, we really played with fire. It's like all friendships, you know, like people that we love.
Venn diagram is real. Venn diagram is real. Then we got back, and then the next, I think, big sort of occasion was was when we went out. Was it before or after? I think Spiral Prac happened, then your tour, or was it the other way around?
It was Spiral Prac, then the tour.
Yeah. So then there was a bit of fire stoking then as well, because before we even got up, you're like, so there's this couple there, and you're just going to be in love with them, and you'll probably end up hooking up with them. I'm like, who? I don't know them. You're like, Vic and Danny. I'm like, I don't know who they are. And then that ended up being my second threesome.
I'm way too psychic for my own good. I remember the moment that things changed for us was because of Ali as well. It was like she came back to Sydney at one point, remember? And
oh yeah, she had come back.
She had come back and she had asked to spend time with you.
Yes.
Remember? She asked like, could I? And I was like, okay. I was not happy about it. Like I was fucking jealous as fuck and dealing with all sorts of fucking shit. And then you were with her, and like my room was like next door to you guys, basically. And you were with her, and I was really dealing with it, struggling with it. And then I was like, I had to like do my like self-love practices just to get by. Remember, you walked in and I had like the speaker on my chest. Like bawling my
listening
fucking
to
eyes
some song
out.
on repeat. I can't remember.
That's my practice.
That's your practice.
My healing practice. If I need to heal, is like if I need to cry and heal, there's a few particular songs that push the buttons, and I just listen to them on repeat and just like get it all out.
Do I sound like a fuckboy right now?
It's all right. This is a long time ago.
And there was permission granted throughout this.
Of course.
I think at some point as well, I can't remember if maybe it was still after this. But yeah, so we went on to Spiral Prac. That ignited a bit of fire as well. And then we went on tour. Yeah. I remember, I can't remember what it was, but on the way down to Melbourne, we had a big blowout. I couldn't talk to you. I was shut down hard. Do you remember?
Why it was though?
You burnt me with something hard.
Yeah, I can be a bitch.
You were spicy with me so hard. It was like, I remember there was a few times where it was like, my perception was like, you know what the button is and you intentionally press that.
Yeah.
And it was, we sort of got to Melbourne and I was like, I need my space. But I had a job to do at the same time.
Wow, that's so hard.
But we did that. And then, so we did the tour. And then just, I guess another piece that is added into it is then at the Sydney show, in comes this boy that I've never met before.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jesus.
Another dynamic of our relationship. And at this point in my life, I had slept with men, been with men, but never did I think I could have feelings for a man.
Yeah, because your whole thing was like, you just fuck them.
Yeah, just fuck them. Which is fun, but I don't feel any feelings for any men. And then in comes this boy, I get introduced to him, Phoenix, at the time Jeffrey. We hug, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then at the end of the night, we hug again, and I was like, something's weird is there. And that was another initiation in our relationship.
Yeah, because then like the next half of our relationship was you being obsessed with Jeffrey.
Obsessed with him. Obsessed with him.
And because there was a moment where you tried to be monogamous with me, because that's what I wanted.
You asked me to be monogamous, yes.
And then you tried for like a week or something, and you were like, I can't.
No, not a week. 3 days.
That's right, 3 days.
And it wasn't that I wanted to be with anyone else. I wasn't getting with anyone else. It was just my moral compass, my integrity was... I remember we were at Kongwong, not even Little Kongwong, and I was like in the water and you wanted at the shore, and I was like, I can't do this. You're like, what? I was
so
like,
dramatic.
Be monogamous. You're like, okay then. It was I was trying so
Don't
hard, but it
be
was
monogamous.
tearing at my insides. It was absolutely tearing. Are we worried that this isn't even recording this whole time?
Yeah, I am a bit worried.
The screensaver has come up for a decent while, and ALPHAMAMA is just checking if it actually is still recording.
yeah,
It is.
still
Okay, we're
recording,
still good.
yes.
You're still here. Yes, so I tried, and I think that was when I think you started to get a bit of like, maybe this isn't it. I think you would get upset that I like to have my own room, and I wanted to spend nights on my own.
Definitely, because that's the thing, like, and that's why I didn't want to go there in the first place, because I know, like, when that part of me hooks in with someone, that's when all my crazy shit comes out.
Yeah.
You know, all the like jealous, possessive, insecure, fucking vulnerable, like all my shit comes out then. And then it's like, oh fuck, it's hard then. It's really hard.
We had agreement forms.
We didn't have an agreement form, did we?
Yeah, a big list. It's probably still in your Google Drive somewhere.
Oh my god.
What I could and couldn't do.
Oh my god.
I so resisted. But there was gold in it. You know, it did teach me a better way of not being so Wild West in my polyamory and agreements and boundaries. But yeah, we reevaluated and added more, and
We really tried.
we really tried.
And you know, like I knew, and we both knew that there was like an incompatibility of sorts in terms of what we both wanted, because I was I was very much in a stage of life where I was looking for like quote unquote the one.
Yes.
You know, and I was looking for like a stable partner that, you know, I didn't have to, because I'd just come out of this relationship with Zulu where like every fucking week some new bomb was going off and my nervous system was never fucking relaxed because I was always on edge. And then I was like, fuck, like you're my best friend. And now we have this romantic thread. And then now it's happening again with my best. It's just like, oh, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
But, you know, of course it was beautiful as well, not just exhausting.
Fascinating that we had so many blow-ups in that. I think I only got with Vic and Dan and Ali that whole time we were together.
Yeah, that was it.
In 9 months. But it felt like that was a big problem. I think it was just that my energy was open.
Yeah, totally.
But I wasn't sleeping around.
And because also you're maybe things are different now. At that time, you know, and understandably, like you'd come out of this long-term relationship, you were finding so many new aspects of yourself. So of course I get it. But you know, you were in that moment like a very sovereign person. You know, even though like you're in a relationship, but you like to spend a lot of time alone.
Yes.
You like to sleep alone.
Yes.
You also like to self-pleasure alone.
Yes.
You know, and like so you like to have a lot of your personal practices alone. And I was like, well, fuck, like what's the point? Saying, if we're not going to be joined at the fucking hip, what's the point?
Yeah, I think that was our opposites.
Yeah.
But I would also like to maybe, we've just unpacked, we're still more, but I would like to maybe rewind a little bit to the good parts as well.
Sure.
We both liked practices and exploring new things in different ways. Like you had your ways that you pushed me at my edges that I liked and hated, and vice versa, right? It was like you had maybe a more experience in sexual kink stuff. You definitely had more experience in sexual kink stuff, which initiated me into a lot of things. And I was a bit more like bush shaman, going out on adventures and hikes and camping and whatnot, which I still have photos of you enjoying camping.
Oh, look, I did have a good time.
I think we like this. We were always laughing and having little jokes. And for this, as in like this podcast, was a big part of that. Was like we'd go camping and a song would come on. It's like, oh, I needed this today. Drink a tea. I needed this today.
Yeah.
Everything was I needed this today. We journeyed. I would slow dance you in the kitchen.
I was just thinking about that. You'd come to the kitchen and then like you'd just like sway with me and then you would sing
I'm like a bird.
I always fly away. And then I'd go, I don't know where my phone is.
I don't know where my phone is. And we had push me and then just touch me so I can get my chimka nuggets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we called each other the chimka nuggets.
I'm just thinking about the things that I really loved about you. Just your kindness. That was like one of the things that stood out to me the most. I just come from a relationship that was very unhealthy in so many ways. And, you being such a generous and kind person, it was like such a big medicine for me. It really showed me like, wow, actually I can be with someone who's really kind and gentle, like, and caring in that way. So that was like such a big medicine, just the kindness.
I loved in our relationship always the moments of seeing you in your element. As in, like, no matter whatever the fight was, whatever, if you were just, even if you were in the workshop room playing the piano, pouring your heart out over a fight we were having, I'm like, oh, I love her so much.
I think that's one of the things actually in relationship that's really important to me. If I am going to partner with someone, it's important that each person has a thing that they do really well and that they actually get to shine in their life, and it does keep the respect there, because it's like, fuck, you're really fucking good at what you do. That's cool. That's hot.
100%. And just like going to shows and whatnot and seeing you through other people's eyes and letting go of our story was just so good. And still, obviously, that still carries on to this day. And you initiated me into that energy that got rejected at first of let's stay in bed. You were not only, because at that time we hadn't slept together. This is the very rewinding back to when we had our first fight before we even got together. Whereas you were giving me the sex eyes and whatnot, and we hadn't even done anything. And I just want to lay in bed. You're rolling around, and that's what a lot of our relationship ended up being. We would like snacks, Netflix, Uber Eats, like even just we toured so much, and the whole drive would be like us self-pleasuring with fruit whilst watching Hot Ones while we're driving. And just eating snacks. That was the whole thing.
That's me.
Pull over on the shoulder of a highway and have sex.
Well, that's the gift that I bring. The gift of like pleasure and indulgence. And I love like just pleasure. It's like such a big value for me. Indulgence and being lazy. I'm a Leo and like a Taurus rising, so it's just like fucking big animals just like laying around.
It was a big conflict in the matter of relationship wise.
Because you were very in hustle mode.
I was a big hustler then, and also I was your manager. I had to get you into hustle mode, and all you wanted to do was to lay in bed and have sex with me and have snacks.
Exactly.
And I was like,
it's hard.
My moral compass is very torn right now.
Yeah. And I think that's like the thing that I loved about you as well, is that, you do what you say. It's like, this is what I said I'm going to do. This is what I'm fucking going to do. And you get your work done. And it doesn't matter what the fuck is happening. You get your work done. And that was really inspiring for me. You know, I guess like I outsourced a lot of that to you because you're so good at it.
I remember we found balance. There was times where you would lay in bed and you would self-pleasure and I'd sit on the laptop next to you in bed. Rather than at my office table or whatever and be like, okay, I'm going to work. You do all your tour and stuff next to me.
Oh, fuck, it's true. I was so indulgent. Oh my God. Nothing's changed, really.
Post your Instagrams.
Yeah.
And that was another big thing we related on and we navigated, which put fire but also depth into us, was that we aired out a lot of our relationship stuff over Instagram with permission.
Yeah.
Hey, do I have permission to talk about this? That was one of our agreements. That was in the clause, in the contract. That we air out, like that we ask for permission what we're airing out, and like allowing that to be the neededness of today.
Totally, yeah. Because I think, you know, we knew that, and we still know, you know, us sharing our lives is a gift for people as well. You know, it sounds a bit arrogant to say, but it's just the fucking truth, you know? Like, the things that we were moving through and being so honest about it was highly relatable content, and people found a lot of value in that, and we would get so many messages and comments of, I needed this today moments, like so much, and people learning from the things that we were willing to experience with each other, because we put ourselves in the fucking deep end real quickly, and you know, we lived a lot of life in a very short amount of time, which is how we live.
That's how we live.
Yeah, I think that is probably why people find us fascinating, because we always have a new fucking story. We're always journeying something, because we don't do boring. You know, it's like, fucking, what's the next thing now? You're in your shaman phase, then you're in your gay phase, then you're in your this phase, and I'm in my slut mode, I'm in this mode, you know? And when we were in relationship, because we both had that in common, we would share a lot of our stories and our realizations about love and relating. Yeah.
I think one of my favourite things was also when we would fight or separate or whatever, we'd go off and have our own little journaling sessions at times, and when things were good again, we'd share how much we hated each other and laugh at it and be like, oh my God, so overreacting. Oh shit, there's truth in that.
Oh yeah, true.
We'd go through that process of, the letter. And the idea was always to like call out and call back in, which is a big medicine that I've continued to carry on throughout relationships. A lot of things from our relationship I've carried on into other relationships.
Yeah.
Then a lot of things happened, but eventually you had come to the realization that Paisley isn't going to be monogamous, he's not going to be River's dad, he's not going to be this, he's not going to be that. He sat me down on the couch, said, we're done.
Yeah, I felt it. I just felt it so strongly.
Yeah.
I couldn't...
You had just come out of a session with Yana, I think.
Yeah, I just felt it was such a clear moment, because you had spent some time down the South Coast with Jeffrey, I think.
Yes.
And like stuff was coming up for me there. And then the lease... No, it's not that the lease was ending. It was just like the whole energy of our life just suddenly went, everything is gone.
The label was closing down.
The label, that's right. The label was closing down. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because the Shannon shit was like happening.
Shannon, and with Neri as well.
Yeah, fuck. There's so much more to this, but anyway.
There's so much more, but it'll continue to come out in future episodes.
It was spiroprac training, because Atlas and Naylor were living with us as well.
Yes.
And they did spiroprac training there, and Atlas was there. So Atlas is one of my ex-partners, if you don't know this.
Yeah, we're living with an ex-partner.
So we were all living in the same house. It was fucking hectic. And then that spiroprac training broke things big time. It was a very destructive process.
Yeah. Broke the record label.
Yeah, it broke so many things, and we all felt it. We were like, everything is different now.
For a while.
Everything is going to be different now. We could feel it. And then coming back home, Atlas and Naylor were like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to New Zealand or whatever they're going to do. So 2 people moved out. And then it was something else. Can't remember what it was.
I was going to the desert.
That's right. You were going to the desert. You had to go on a
pilgrimage
spirit
to figure
journey,
out what the next phase of my life is.
What the next thing was, and I was just like, everything is crumbling.
The house was falling apart. We pulled we 14 days in a row of rats that we
That's right.
caught in rat cages.
Rat infestation.
Yeah, every day. We thought we had one rat, and then we put rat cage out.
That's
Caught
right.
one, next day caught another one. Some days we catch two. It was 14 rats that we let out in a park like kilometers away. Just the house. There was just it was kicking us out hard.
It was time. We had thoroughly thrashed the community living bohemian thing. We thrashed it, and then so you, me, and Daniel, who was our housemate at the time, and River were looking for a new house.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't feeling right.
Yeah, that's right. I was so devastated about that as well.
Yeah.
I was so devastated because I remember I've always wanted to show you, but I don't even know where it is. But like, you and I had gone to a cafe in Brighton Le Sands, and we're doing some journaling and whatnot. And I was like, look, we're looking for a place. We're going to get a place. I'm going to go away to the desert and come back. And I'm going to live this really beautiful relationship with Alpha. This is all the things we're going to manifest. And it was that night that you're like, so it's over. I was like...
I didn't say it like that. Fuck you.
So it's over. Get out. I was like, but my manifestation journal.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I felt so bad. I'm so bad at breakups.
I cried so hard.
It was awful.
I cried so hard.
It was the
I
worst.
can't believe this. But we're meant to be together. We're on this journey. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it was the worst. Like, I was... I was so devastated, but it's one of those things, like your deep truth that you just know you have to do it, even though it sucks. And it's like, why though? I just knew it. And I knew that if I left it so that we had a new lease and we were in a new house together, it would have just been fucking chaos. I just knew that for a fact. So it had to be done, and it was hard. And then after we made the decision, we moved out of the house, which was a fucking traumatizing ordeal.
Yeah.
Then you went to the desert, and then I was living with some friends for a bit. And then you came back from the desert and
surprised you.
You surprised me in Newtown, which is fucking crazy. It was hard for me. It was hard for me because I was like, why did I do that? Why did I break up with you? Like, obviously I don't not love you. Like, there was still love there. And then you were like, okay, cool. I did my healing in the desert. I'm chill now. And I was like, this is awful. And you were sleeping with other people. Well, not sleeping, but you were seeing other people.
I was seeing other people.
And I was like gutted, distraught. It was awful.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. So you were like more and more closing off to me. I was living with Lily in Georgia by this point.
I had a mad, very, very difficult.
You had a very difficult time, and you were leaving just before my birthday. I came over to where you're staying. You wrote me a card, and you asked me to stay with you. I was like, I can't, for this to actually work, I have to not, And then I remember I was I had to stick in my boundaries that night. I still have videos. I found videos and photos of you crying sent to me.
God,
and you're like, I can't. You're about to fly out the next day and you're like, please come over. And I'm like, I can't do it, Alpha.
So humiliating.
And I think you sent me a photo, and I have it in my phone still of, this is the last time I'm going to cry over you. And you sent me a photo of you crying. He's like, this is the face of the last cry over you.
Yeah, I think it was. Oh, maybe I had one more. Maybe. No, I think that was it.
I don't know if you cried when you actually cut the cords with me.
I didn't cry. I was fucking pissed.
Steaming from the ears instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alpha goes to America. We're still sort of I'm more so like checking in. How are you doing?
Yeah, I definitely had to close. I had to close because it was too painful to stay open.
And then you sent me an email. Do you want to detail the email?
Well, because what happened was, you had a thing with, I don't know what her name is, I only know her Instagram handle.
Yeah.
You were having a thing with her, And she had sent me a message saying, hey, just checking in, you know, like I'm going to spend some time with Paisley. How do you feel about this? There's nothing there. It's just a friendship, blah, blah, blah. I'm already fucking rolling my eyes. And I'm like, okay. And she said, but, you know, like, I'll let you know, and I was just like, I could already feel it. I was like, don't fucking bullshit me. I know there's some shit there. Otherwise you wouldn't be checking in if it was just a friendship, you know? So anyway...
I had told you my intentions. I had told you what happened.
Yeah, and then something happened, and then she messaged me back saying, so something happened, and I lost a plot. I was so fucking furious. I was fuming, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. I have to cut all cords. I have to. It's the only way that I will be able to dry up from this fucking well of just, you know, upset. Had to do it. And it was extreme because I didn't just say... I don't want to be friends anymore. I was like, everything, burn it down.
You're like, I've blocked you on Facebook, Instagram, you're not my manager anymore.
I did everything.
We can't be friends.
Yeah.
Then there was no like, until, it was just like, full stop.
Yeah.
I need you to respect my space.
I was pissed.
And then I was pissed. I hadn't been pissed at you yet. And I was like, fuck you. You know, like... The deal at the start of this relationship was no matter what, we are friends. I felt like you had broken a bond, you know? You had broken the core foundation of what we had signed up for.
Totally, and I did. And I feel like, and this is not a justification, but, you know, my reasoning at the time was like, I need to break it in order for me to be free from this because I was so entrenched in, you know, just too much emotional bullshit. I couldn't see any other thing. I was so like wounded and so like thrashing around in my fucking pain and drama. I just had to do it. I was like, I have to give myself complete freedom from this and deal with the repercussions later. You know, I just can't think about it right now. I had to do it. And because I was just like, because it wasn't just you, it was also just like backlog of all the fucking Zulu shit and just like constantly having to deal with, you know, my partners wanting other people. It was exhausting for me. I didn't have the capacity. I did not have the fucking emotional capacity. Yeah. So it was like, sever all the fucking ties. done. And then I had the most amazing magical adventure of my life, you know, went to New Orleans, recorded the album, blah blah blah, came back.
Wait, home. No, there's another step in between it. Okay. So you're in New Orleans recording your album, along comes your birthday, and I'm like, I wish I could send my friend a happy birthday, but she asked, and I'm gonna respect the boundary that she said, don't talk to me. All day I'm thinking about you, should I message, should I not? And then ding, in my Facebook Messenger, just Paisley's song.
Oh, that's right.
You sent me the song about me on your birthday. And I was like, you spicy bitch. You spicy bitch. I can't say happy birthday to you, but you can say, here's a song for you on my birthday.
That's hilarious because we recorded that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on that day.
Yeah.
That's right. True. That was rough.
But I took the medicine. I loved it. I sent you a message. Thank you so much. I wanted to send you a message. So I'm glad you opened this.
Yeah. And by that stage, I was okay because I've already, you know, like slept with a few more people, you know.
Then you were in a relationship
with
someone
I was in
else.
a thing with someone. I was like, I had dried up significantly. Emotionally, I was cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then I knew I was coming home and Atlas was in town and there was going to be open world and it's like we were both going to be there. So, I think you reached out first and you were like you checked in, you know, with like, hey, open world, what are we going to do sort of thing.
I think so, yeah. I think I did. Yeah, I did. And then we're at open, like I'm there, everyone's there, and I could hear the knocking at a door and I'm like, oh, I'll go get that. And I'm like, it's Alpha. We have this moment of just a very dry hug, I think, and you were still very like, no, you know, energy towards me, and we did open world, and then because you had beef with a lot of people there. You had cut cords with Nardine. You had cut cords with someone else.
Yeah.
The girl that I was with was there.
That's
I had
right.
been seeing.
That's right.
Phoenix was there. Phoenix is Jeffrey because you say Jeffrey. And then afterwards, I'm like, hey, let's go have a chat. You know, see where we're at.
Yeah.
We go to the Thai restaurant next to, what's the space?
The Nest.
The Nest.
Yeah.
And then we go, and you're essentially like just saying, yeah, like we're friends, but you know, it's not how it used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna have that friendship anymore.
Yeah, I fully like cut you.
Essentially, you're just saying we're not special anymore.
Yes, that's what I said. I was like, the specialness is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You
I
were bald.
howled the restaurant down. I howled the restaurant down.
You were crying.
I can't believe I was like, I'm not accepting it, you know, like we are special. I don't care what you say, and I'm howling. And then I think that was what you were like, fine, I'll stop being a fucking tough bitch.
Yeah, I let some shit down after that. Yeah. I mean, you know, I know, like, that's the thing with me is, like, I'm so soft and so, like, and you know this about me, I'm so sensitive, and that's why, because I'm so sensitive, that's why I'm such a bitch. Is because when that sensitivity gets hit, it's too painful for me, so I just... It's like coping mechanism. It's just like, fuck it. I just have to like cut people off. I just have to close. I know it's like, it's not the right thing to do, but it's like, sometimes it feels like the only way to survive, you know?
Yeah. I feel like, you know, and then it was a slow build to friendship again. I was living with Georgia and Lily, and you and Georgia weren't meshing the best, so you couldn't really come over.
Yeah, it was weird. And then remember, we had an intimate experience as well.
Oh yeah, that was
one time.
Yeah, that one time, and you were still with old mate.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you two were monogamous.
But we weren't really.
But yeah, we had that one moment. Yeah, I remember that. And then yeah, things are starting to get a bit better from there.
And then you started dating Liv.
Then I started dating Liv, and I
started dating Ez.
You were with Ez already, and you were still upset with me. You can't date her. You were like, you can say why.
I can't remember.
Well, first of all,
I was on some bullshit.
You were like, well, I was attracted to her first.
That's right.
I felt like there was a little bit of attraction, also sisterhood. Yeah. I journeyed DE with her. She should have checked in with me first.
Yeah, I had so much. Fuck, I was such a fucking toxic person, if I'm honest.
And I still sat there and go, I don't care, we're friends, you know. I remember where we had that discussion. I had just come from hers from the first time we had actually hooked up, because we were like in this mystery zone for a while, which is a whole other story. And then after the first time we hooked up, I went and had lunch with you in Newtown, and I told you, and you were on your I know I'm psychic.
Yeah, me and my psychic bullshit. I already know. I already know.
Oh, shut up, or whatever. And you're like, look, it's okay. I just don't respect it.
Yeah, oh, fuck, I'm such a bitch. Oh, my God. Oh. I didn't respect it because I knew she was in a relationship, and there was some shit there that I was like, nah, bro, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
she wasn't in a relationship anymore.
Because you broke it.
I broke it. Nonetheless, hey, buddy, no.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we journeyed that, and I think like by the time her and I had broken up, you and I were good again. We were running the self-pleasure parties.
That's right.
James had passed away. There was everything had to dissolve.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, you know, like looking back on who I was in that relationship, like I feel so different now.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, we both have changed so much. And I think it's those kinds of experiences, like we really sat in the fire together. We really did. And I think like what I've noticed is like some people in my life, and you know, you would know probably who I'm talking about. don't actually have what it takes, you know, to sit in the fire of, you know, like the fire of like connection and friendship and relating that burns away everything that isn't love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like you and I, and, you know, certain people have remained. Yeah. And like there's another initiation and you just burn away more layers of ego and you come out more refined and more loving and less ego bullshit, you know? Like I think back to who I was and I'm like, oh my God, that is so painful and toxic. Like I love her. I love old Alpha who was like jealous, possessive, psycho, crazy bitch. But also I'm so grateful that I went through that and that I feel different now.
Yeah. Yeah, I got so much from it. Again, like I said, like I learned so much around boundaries and agreements and sexual initiation, bringing ritual into a relationship. Buddy, you were like relaxed for a good few bits there, but now you're stressed again.
You're stressed and just eat my socks.
Yeah, I took so much from it. I still, you know, reference things from the relationship there, you know, little gadgets that you showed me of little transmissions. Yeah, and I think, like, you know, things are in a good place, and this relationship with Tim is the first time that you've just been all the way on board.
Yeah, because I can feel, it feels like clear and good and healthy.
Yeah,
and
it's drama free. It's healthy. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm now the one who's fucking everyone.
Yeah, it was me going around. So, and now you're the one that doesn't want to be in a relationship unless you can be with someone else and whatnot.
Isn't it funny how the tables
I'm in a monogamous relationship.
So crazy.
And you're sleeping around and telling boys that I can't hang out with you if you get jealous.
Yeah, it's so amazing. That's, you know, and that's, I think, you know, if anything with this podcast, I think one of the things that you and I both hold is really like that permission, you know, permission slip to live the way you want to live and to know that like anything is possible if you're willing to really do the work. And the work is going inside and fucking like breaking down all your bullshit stories and, you know, all the paradigms and all of that stuff. And, you know, in 6 months you could be living a completely different life.
Yes.
And we do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, here's your I needed this today moment.
I needed this today.
If you want to go actually, it's funny, I was catching up with a client today who I hadn't spoken to in some months, and they were telling me that since our last session, basically like, yeah, they're gay now. And like one of their intentions for working with me was to be unapologetically myself. That was the thing. And like had this huge journey like around their sexuality, and now they're just like in a beautiful loving relationship with someone of the same sex, and it was just like, fuck yeah.
Nice.
Like that shit can happen. So if you're listening to this and there's something that you feel you really want, like a truth that you want to live, just know that it's totally possible.
Yeah. And you just have to literally sit through the fire, like look all the things that and this is like, that was obviously a brief of what happened. And I'm sure throughout future episodes we'll revisit certain moments and remember other moments to see what built what creates this podcast now and what our friendship is. And we'll be introducing different people throughout time.
Yeah, we'll get all the main characters on board.
Today you were featuring with Acacia, whinging the whole time. Hello, buddy. He's hugging me right now. He's up on our laps.
Acacia.
But yeah, I hope you needed this today.
Yeah, and I hope you got something from this. We love you.
We love you.
All right, peace out.
Peace. But now you're going to have to put in the password. Figure out how to pause. Acacia's just going to breathe the way out. Thank you, Acacia.
All right. Bye.
Bye.